Once again, a beautiful afternoon here for fall football at Q Field in beautiful Nanaimo, British Columbia. At this time, we ask if you're able, please remove your hats and rise and join us with the singing of O Canada.
Good afternoon, football fans. I'm Lorenzo Jensen, and welcome to Nanaimo District Secondary School, where the 5-4 Valley Huskers are taking on the hosting VI Raiders, who are 3-6, but it's a surprising 3-6. They've gotten on a hot streak recently, and including a 43-11 win over the West Shore Rebels recently to kind of turn the tables. And certainly a big day for multiple players for the VI Raiders. Five veteran players who have spent their entire 5 years with the Raiders, including number 11, Savian Townsend, number 3, Paul Romanoff, and number Andrew Mattis as well, and Daniel Obinquo, number 94. We might hear from him a little bit later, have a little bit of an audio bite there for you. And Ola Adigbite, number 96. So 5 VI Raiders concluding their playing days here with the Raiders. And the home field announcer kind of seemed to leave something hanging in the air there when he said their final games as a player. And so who knows, maybe there's some potential football front office work in one of those 5-year veterans' future, but you just never know. Certainly Savian Townsend, one of the more electrifying players in the league, and he's had such a big impact on the development moving forward for these VI Raiders. They're just deciding the coin toss here, who's going to receive the football, and we'll be underway momentarily as they do that. The Valley Huskers, as I mentioned, a 5-4 record, and they would certainly like to finish the season on a winning note. And a big difference in at this point in the season. One win can mean so much, and for the Raiders to be able to move to 4-6 on the season would seem pretty appealing at this point and stage of the season. Of course, playing for personal pride, playing for the team element, and look at them get in there with their team, and that's the Raider Nation that they've come to know and love. And they're building a very, very strong foundation under Andrew Harris and Sean Arabsky with their vision moving forward. And they talk multiple times about the culture that they want to bring in and to make effective within this organization. And they're certainly making inroads on that promise. So it's a bit of a bittersweet day, you could say. A little bit heavier on the sweet with, I was thinking of the analogy of a parent or maybe an older sibling, maybe when they leave home, but to know that that the youngsters are going to be okay. They know that they've banded together, they've learned the lessons together, and they're growing as a unit. And if you need any confirmation, just ask those 5 players: Savian Townsend, Paul Romanoff, Andrew Mattis, Daniel Obinquo, and Ola Adigbite. You're getting one last look at them today here as VI Raiders, and proudly adding their names to the many names before them, proudly wearing the Raiders black and red. And they're set to receive this kickoff from the Valley Huskers. We'll get this one underway here at Nanaimo District Secondary School. And speaking of Townsend, he waits over on the right side of the field, but it looks like it's going to be kicked to the left. And that's where Harmon Ahuja will go to work. He had an amazing run against the West Shore Rebels in that unbelievable 43-11. And we actually already have the game's first flag. And I see one of it looks like Andrew Mattis clapping his hands as he leaves the field. So I think that's going to be a defensive penalty against the Huskers, but we'll await the official word here. Savian Townsend with that nice run out to his right, and then a little cut there, got him a couple extra yards, and he got a good block from Andrew Mattis as he came together with Xander Crosswell. And they have moved the football downfield, and that's where they'll mark the 1st and 10 from.
You got it.
From the 44, that's where the Raiders will take over, and Sadler Smith owning a lot of records this season. There's the handoff, maybe line of scrimmage. At best, maybe a loss of a yard or so, but there is a flag on the play on that handoff to Ron Lyle, who had such a big impact in that home win a couple of weeks ago. The first VI Raiders win in a long time, and there's a face masking call against the Huskers, so a couple of early penalties are going to move them backwards on the field and a little deeper into their own territory here, and that's exactly what the Raiders like to see. I was actually just kind of noticing, if you take a look out on the field, there's a lot of, not just Huskers, but there's a few Raiders wearing the pink cleats and cleat tape. Kind of an interesting look today with that white handoff again. This time, maybe a couple of yards, as Ron Lyle squeaks under a tackle and avoids Oren Blackmore just for a moment before he gets tackled, and in on the assist there on the play. Braden Klippenstein getting a piece there. Good sized defensive line for the Huskers. No doubt aiding their 5-4 record this season. 2 in motion on both sides, but he's going down the middle. Was it caught? Yes, it was. And that point downfield can only mean one thing from Parker Moscript, who's come on pretty hot here in these late goings. Moscript having what I felt 2 weeks ago was his best game as a Raider, and a couple of huge plays in the third quarter, and he gets a tap on the helmet from retiring Paul Romanoff, and boy, he's been exciting. I remember a couple of touchdowns last season, his acrobats on display. There's the flip toss on the carry, and a pickup of a good number of yards, maybe 5-6 at least, and just double checking on the run there, but nonetheless, the Raiders, they're getting moved back here because of a hold on the offense, so that's going to make the task a lot more difficult here. Picking up the football from around the 45. Basically 1st and 20 From the backfield, Ron Lyle takes it and he continues charging and he gets downfield and cuts over half of that distance on that run. That's a great run by Ron Lyle, who, again, they've employed that quick little flip pass. I need to see Ron Lyle picking up a little bit of a low 5 there from Owen Giancola, who has done a lot of work carrying the football this season, so it's nice that they've got Lyle in there to be able to be a secondary runner. Just thought I'd mention, too, there's a player down on the field. That's Jonah Siciliano for the Huskers, but he's propped up on one knee. He should be, looks like he's just getting checked out there and maybe catching his breath a little bit, as the Raiders will take a early hydration break here, keep the fluids high. As I mentioned, kind of some low-lying cloud here this afternoon, but not necessarily threatening rain, so it's a great cool afternoon, and the football's nice and dry. And Siciliano getting a hand from the crowd as he leaves the field on his own steam, but with the escort of a trainer. Raiders back on the football here after the break. Ron Lyle now fakes the handoff, takes the run over to the right. He's got the first down and more. He breaks a tackle and he gets into the end zone. Touchdown, Raiders. Ron Lyle almost doesn't want to give the football back. That's how good that one feels. And the Raiders continue their surprising ascent here late in the season. A team that you can tell from their just the way they've banded together, their comradeship, that they're not going to go quietly into the night. They're going to set up for this extra point, and the Raiders hold a 7-0 lead. So 2.5 minutes in, the Raiders hit pay dirt, and Ron Lyle looking nice and comfortable in that quarterback position there. Able to get away with a very well-timed sneak up the right side. And even though they had a giant amount of yards in front of them to conquer, they more than got the first down. And, of course, Ron Lyle with a touchdown for the Raiders. And it's a 7-0 lead over the Valley Huskers here early at NDSS. And once again, thank you for joining myself and the Roll Focus crew. I'm not sure if you're on LinkedIn or not, but you should check out some of the amazing work that they've done in and around the island, but particularly in Victoria, some of the largest sporting events and events of cultural significance. Give them a check out, Roll.Focus on LinkedIn. That's a great place to see some of their work. There's the kickoff return. A little bit of a double clutch there as they swing it out of the backfield. Avoid one tackle, had his jersey held for a moment, but a good run overall for Colby Johnson, and the wide receiver turning on the Jets there. They had a little piece of his jersey, but just not quite enough. And he picked up a couple extra yards, but as it stands, they'll go to work about the 31-yard line. And you could see that how close that was. Obinquo with a bit of the jersey there of Johnson, but now we get a look at the offense. There's the catch, and once again, Colby Johnson being used early and often. Climbs the ladder, grabs that ball. So a pickup of about 8 yards there, possibly closer to 9. So first and a yard and a half or so. Maybe 2 at most. Looks like they're going to get it as they plow their way through and pick up, I believe, is the first down, but there is an injury on the field. Oh, and one of the Huskers, I believe, Oscar DeVos, rolling in much discomfort there on the field. His helmet already off. He's trying to, I think there's something going on with his back, and maybe being face down is about the best he can do right now. And trainer Ava McCrae and Katie Bergen heading out onto the field to see if they can assist and what they can do here for a young man definitely in some difficulty for sure.
I feel wrong.
And Jay Daniels, the former head coach, I always remember that one interview I did with him, and he spoke about the game of football and how it's truly a rugged man's game. And he said that everything on the field costs something. All of the yardage on the field costs something, and are you willing to pay that price to get it? And moments like this, I think the Huskers are going to head off the field just to give them some space there. And as I mentioned, unfortunately, DeVos in quite a bit of pain there. I wasn't able to detect exactly what happened, but it was shortly after the first down was made. As soon as the ball carrier went down, it looked like he just fell in a heap. And definitely heart goes out to the players that put it all on the line and have a very difficult day like today. You just never know when that next big encounter or a big injury can be. And unfortunately, that's just in the line of the sport, as his teammates await anxiously on the sideline, taking a knee, and I'm sure some silent prayers for DeVos as he tries to endure the best he can here under the circumstances. Not even 3.5 minutes into the football game, so it's as I mentioned, you just never know. And the fans watching, it's brought a bit of a hush to the crowd, and I think they're going to see if there's anything they can do to help their teammate. And they do it very quick and well, and a well-deserved hand from the crowd. Well, let's hope big number 51 gets some reprieve here from the pain, and I can assure you, based on the amount of time that he was down on the field, that this is going to be something that he is affected by for a good little while. The recovery window will not be small, but let's hope for the best for DeVos. But it is certainly heartening. I will mention that at least we didn't have to have intervention from BCAS, the BC Ambulance Service, and they've been here in times past in need to get players quickly to the help that they need. Back underway, swings a pass out to the near side. That's caught and right around the center line, still earning yards, and they finally blow the whistle as Peyton Lake just drives forward and earns a first down for the Huskers. So a good response, a well-thrown ball, and that's going to start to open up some possibilities here for the Huskers, marching it downfield here a little bit. Tyron Duvall and company. Duvall with the handoff on the near side. Lots of yards being picked up here along the outside. Great run by Jawad Harb, and Harb just taking what he was given. Everybody was tied up with a man, so it's a very good formation and look for the Huskers, as it was a very well-disguised play. It was very difficult, actually, for any of the defensive line to see what was happening at that moment. Just a crowd to see over, and a very well-timed play by the Huskers, and they're down around the 40. There's the snap. Quick throw, and that one's in the dirt. Very quick set play. But for the Raiders, Kaya Saunders, he knew what was going on, and he quickly closed the gap. And as a bit of a swap out of personnel here for the Raiders, 3 off and 3 new players on set, including Jake Smith. Jake Smith, the defensive back, and he's been a real treat to watch here in his time with the Raiders. Long throw, going deep, caught. Big strike by Luke Rodriguez, and it's a big throw for the Huskers, and that one is putting them right on the doorstep, and the Huskers threatening to tie up this football game. Well thrown ball by Tyron Duvall. And here they are. Quick snap, and he's going deep into the right corner, and it's a touchdown. And the Huskers tie up the football game, courtesy of Stephen Koniuk. They just swung that football out as wide as they could go when they took advantage of every inch of the end zone. And that football's brought in, and that's a great response, and I'm sure that DeVos is going to feel a little better knowing that his troops have put themselves in position here to tie up this football game. Point after courtesy of Gabriel Yapin. Set and kick through, and it's a 7-up game. The Huskers marching right back, and it's been tick for tack. A little over 5 minutes in. So just like after the initial kickoff, the Raiders set to receive the football here. So Luke Rodriguez did all of the Yeoman's work, and Stephen Koniuk cashes in with a touchdown for the Huskers. Ron Lyle, of course, with the tally and the major for the VI Raiders. Aiden Saunders getting set to punt this one to the Raiders. Raiders with an interesting setup in the midfield area, kind of helping negate any short onside kick attempts. This one turning end over end. It's going to bounce in the turf. Harmon Ahuja scoops it up. He's going to take it way wide. Can he get around the last defender? No, he can't. And that one was a gamble, but he did his best to swing wide. Adam Greenhill getting in there and getting enough of Harmon Ahuja to pull him to the turf. And that could have been either a big gain or basically no gain, and that's where the Raiders will pick up the football and go to work deep in their own territory here. As I mentioned, a bittersweet afternoon for the VI Raiders. 5 complete years by 5 different players. It seems pretty compact, and they're sure going to miss the speed and wits of Savion Townsend. There's a swing pass out to the left, and a couple extra yards after the first point of contact, but Aiden Harker getting in there for the tackle.
Quick reminder, lots of fun things.
And a pickup.
Of course, the world famous
of about 4 on the play.
At halftime, you get 3 balls for $5 or $2 each. Big thanks to Mika's Transport. He'll drive a truck around the field.
Second and about 6 for the Raiders.
Back of the truck. We'll pick the top 3, and they'll do some great prizes.
Sadler Smith surveying the landscape. One quickly in motion to his right. He's got a duck under cover. Can't get away from one. He can 2. There's the forward pass, and it's caught, but it's a loss of yards. They might have saved maybe a couple of yards there, but that's going to make for a punting situation here as the Raiders just not quite enough time. That look downfield by Sadler Smith. He didn't see a lot available. The Huskers with great coverage on that play. And as I mentioned, Aiden Harker in there like a shot, the defensive back, getting in quick and around his man. So a big defensive play by the Huskers, and suddenly it feels like the momentum here has shifted over to the Huskers. Fresh off that touchdown by Stephen Koniak. Good punt to get it away. Takes a couple of bounces in the turf. And now collected on the backside by Luke Rodriguez with that big catch to lead to the touchdown. He's getting around to the outside. Just kept so very close to running it in himself. Luke Rodriguez, who's having a whale of a first quarter here, does a skip and a hop through the end zone. He didn't quite get it in, but he's hoping his mates can punch it in and double up here in quick order. The Huskers with some quick offense courtesy of Rodriguez. And there's that patented dance there. Quick throw from Duval. It's a wobbly one, but it's in the end zone, and it's caught. Koniak with his second of the afternoon. And he gives Luke Rodriguez a hug. He knows Rodriguez was just as much responsible for that. And just like that, the Valley Huskers quickly gaining the lead. And it was all part of that defensive play by Harker that led to the great field position. Big run by Luke Rodriguez on the return, nearly punched it in himself. And the Huskers showing some great legs here early. Gabriel Yapen ready to give this one a punt with the right boot, and she's up and through, and it's a 14-7 lead, and the Huskers really taking that nervous energy while their mate DeVos was on the field and turning it into something very productive here. They've responded well, and it's a quick couple of touchdowns for the Huskers. They lead 14-7. Almost exactly halfway through this first quarter. Raiders looking for a way to get their mojo back here a little bit. And a good punt return would certainly go a long way towards that. Savian Townsend and Harmon Ahuja actually swapping sides this time around. And if it turns out the same way it did last time, it will head over to the left side of the field. So it should be Savian Townsend receiving if it goes the same direction, and indeed it is. Townsend with those prolific green gloves cradles it, goes up through the middle. He bounced off one tackle and then got into a sea of white there right around the 30-yard line, and no further he goes, but it was a good little cut initially there by Savian Townsend, the 5-year veteran, in his final VI Raiders matchup, and he's giving it every bit of energy he can. You see that collision there as he hit that 30-yard line, and a couple people bounced back, and that's a lot of strength and power coming together. Now hopefully the Raiders can string a couple of plays together, get the ball downfield here. They've had trouble operating out of their end of the field when they're deep. Ron Lyle receives the football, has a blocker up in front, maybe two, and he escapes one, tackle two, and he gets all the way to the 50, and it's a 20-yard run. Ron Lyle, it's all about that first cut for him, and if you give him that chance to get to the inside like he did, great blocking though on the part of the Raiders. They really set the the parameters downfield, and finally two-man grab there from Junior Manyaka. In on the tackle there, and the Raiders from the 50. Two in motion on the left, but Ron Lyle's going to run it. Ran into a couple right around center line, but he keeps pounding, and he gets closer to their 50. Close to a first down. Ron Lyle finding more room, but this time off to the left side. And the running's been great here this afternoon by both teams. Luke Rodriguez with some afterburners, and Ron Lyle, for his part, punching one into the end zone and now picking up 10 and 20-yard spots. Lyle again in the pocket. Has Giancola behind him. Giancola's going to take through the middle, trying to pound it forward. Did he get enough to get the first down? I don't know. It's going to be close, and so this is going to bring about a situation and a decision for the Raiders if they didn't make it, and I think they're going to be shy by a little bit here of the first down. Very close, but I don't think they got much closer. Yes, so we are third and about a yard, maybe a yard and a half. So the Raiders, big decision moment here, and it looks like they're going to make a play.
The Raiders are going to go. Here we go.
Sadler Smith in for this one. Giancola lining up right directly behind him. Is it the quarterback sneak? Yes, it is, and he plows forward. Did he find it? I think they got enough, maybe just enough. Very close, but they make it work. And they got not much more than the yard and a half. Look at that shove, and Giancola, just that one big push from the back, and he helps pushes QB into first down territory. Fresh set of downs for the Raiders. From the 49, two in motion on the near side. That's where Smith is looking. He's running. There's a flag on the field. He's going to cut to the inside, and he gets out to the first down marker. Now, who's this penalty against?
Hangs onto the ball, but there is a flag in the backfield. We'll wait for the officials.
And the flag was thrown just shortly before, or just shortly after Sadler Smith started to turn and run. Right there when he's looking downfield, something happened, and that was a nice cut as he gets by Andy Ofasuhin and picks up the first down, but we're awaiting the call of the officials here from the field.
It's a 15-yard penalty. We'll find out what it is.
Looks like it's going against the Raiders.
Unnecessary roughness. 99 on the offense. Hitting a player without a helmet. It's a 15 yards from the previous line of scrimmage. Replay first down. Your football helmet belongs on your head, guys. Just
So I think that was Brevin Arnell who picked up the penalty, and that drives the Raiders back. So the momentum they picked up there, they're going to have to regain it here as they go to work from the 46. Quick little dump over the screen. Ron Lyle diving forward, but
They get up to about the 54-yard line.
only going to eat into this yardage so much from the penalty. Second and a long way to go here. They need to get to the 39, so still a significant amount of yardage here necessary on this play. But Sadler Smith has looked up at more daunting tasks, and he's got Ron Lyle in behind him, two in motion on the near side. It's going to go there. There's the catch through the midfield, but an immediate tackle by Aiden Harker, and again, Harker factoring in here, and the Raiders are able to move the ball downfield a little bit with Blaze McCarty, but ultimately they're going to have to punt this one away. And so a costly penalty on that drive will keep the Raiders from threatening to tie the football game for now. And the Huskers with an opportunity close to center field to see what their running crews got again in their tool belt. Luke Rodriguez with that huge return earlier. And that's been a defining moment here so far in the first quarter. He receives the football over to his left now, and he's got one blocker up in front of him. Takes the second block. Now they'll force him out, and he got a lot of help on that run from Yos Borelli, and Borelli giving him a good couple of blocks to earn some yards and pick up a pretty significant chunk of return yards there. Luke Rodriguez might not have punched that football in, but his big catches early in this first quarter led to this early lead for the Huskers. But there is a flag in the backfield there, and there's quite a discussion going on near the 40-yard line by the officials. And a good look at number 1, Felice Toscano for the VI Raiders. And he's made some huge defensive plays here when teams try and threaten to send the ball deep. He's the guy covering in the backfield, and always difficult to beat him in a one-on-one situation. So
You can't do that.
So the Raiders are declining the illegal block, but take the hold, and now the Huskers getting into some penalty trouble of their own. And instead of operating from down near the 40-yard line, they're deep in their own territory, so they're going to try and run the ball out. And that is about a pickup of close to 5 yards there for the Huskers. And Mason Massey with that run there for the Huskers. And be about 2nd and 5 here for the Huskers on the back of that run. One in motion on each side, but there's the handoff, and it looks like enough yards. The Raiders have a piece, but they can't quite drag him down initially, and that was Andrew Mattis, the vet.
Yeah, we're good.
And indeed, the first down was obtained. So the Huskers moving the chains here and getting out of the danger zone on their side of the field.
Let's go, Raiders. Light someone up.
Fresh set of downs. Tyron Duvall, he's going to hand off there, and maybe a pickup of 1 on the run there. Not much room for Jawad Harb to go with that football. The Raiders looked like they were expecting some kind of motion to the left side of the field, and the defensive line adjusted well. Good play by Tanny Wisdom there, and he's been looking very solid, and he's applying some heat through the middle. Swing pass to the near side. Oh, and he escaped the first tackle. Cuts to the inside, and they're calling him out, but not before he picks up the first down. So at the 43-yard line, the Huskers with another first down, and they're putting together a nice little tidy drive here. Rounding out this first quarter of play, we've got about 70 seconds on the clock. There's a snap. Duvall hands off, a familiar face, but he runs into a big pile there. And looks like it could be a pickup of about 4, maybe 5 on the play. And we have a Raider down and looking like he's in some discomfort. I wanted to say it was Sterling Henry, but It must be Sterling Henry who's having a bit of a roll there, but he gets to his knees. And he'll stand up with some assistance there from the trainer. Sterling Henry getting a hand as he heads off the field. A little bit of a hand there from the training staff, Olivia Adams, and it's good news that he's able to head off on his own steam. 2nd and 5 for the Huskers. They've been running the ball with aplomb today, and I don't see any reason why they would stop with that formula. Set play, there's the flip toss, taking it out wide, and he finds the yardage that he's looking for, and he gets pushed out of bounds. And a big run there for Dag Mora. So they're marking it around the 52-yard line is where the Huskers will try to continue the marching the ball here on this impressive drive. 2 in motion on his right, but he swings it out to the left. Ball bounces off of the receiver's hands, actually more of his shoulder pads, and Colby Johnson had a nice catch earlier, but this one bouncing off his shoulder pads and out of bounds. So a fairly important 2nd down here for the Huskers as the clock winding down its last 20 seconds here in the first quarter. 3 in motion on the right, and that's where Duvall is looking way out, and it gets there, an immediate tackle and a flag on the play. Kaya Saunders darted out and hit the receiver. And the throw actually, or the play was initially already close to the first down, about a yard, maybe a yard and a half off, but they are marking off the penalty, so that will eat significantly into this field here with a 10-yard penalty and a first down for the Huskers. So all sorts of promise here for the Huskers on this big drive, orchestrated all the way on the back of a couple of penalties back in their own zone. So what should be the last play of the first quarter? Duvall way back in the pocket, one to his left, and there's the handoff. Over to the right, and again, Harb just continues to chalk up yards here as he runs that ball over to the far side of the field, and a pickup of about 7 on the play. But there is, so they are going to swap sides now, and they'll reset down at the other end of the field. And for their part, the Valley Huskers doing a good job of clock management and stringing together a good drive here at the end of the first quarter. So they've set themselves up nicely for this second quarter. And the Raiders with an important task here defensively. They had the 7-0 lead, but they saw it evaporate. A couple of great plays from Luke Rodriguez and Stephen Koniak, of course. Some nice throws in there from Duvall. And the Huskers responded incredibly well after their teammate went down to injury. Just 3.5 minutes into the football game. If you're joining us on BC Football Conference TV or TELUS Optic 1981, thank you for being here. Lots of fun having this football in the BC Football Conference happening, some Saturday afternoon goodness. And what a way for 5 VI Raiders to end off their illustrious 5-year stints as veterans with the team. And they're putting on a pretty good performance here today. And you can bet They certainly would like to make some inroads on this lead that the Huskers have, and that starts with some big defense here. But still tons of football left in this one, so a lot to be sorted out here. And looks like they've got that sorted out now, and Duval and company can go back to work. Tyron with Jawad Harb over to his immediate left. Luke Rodriguez inset on the near side as a receiver. And he's in motion now, but he may have been dragged into that motion, I'm not sure, but as far as I could tell, he was the first one that I could see moving. Oh, no, I guess maybe one of the Raiders. Some sort of motion on the part of the Raiders, so that ball inches even closer to their goal line. First and 10 from about the 15. Duval, quick throw on the near side, pushed out of bounds, but not before picking up the first down. And now the Huskers with firm control here in Nanaimo district territory here. The Raiders are going to need a goal line stand here if they're to keep the Huskers from tripling up on them here in the early goings of the second quarter, and 4 different players brought out now for the Huskers. So it feels like a special teams kind of play. Brady Hymanek lining up in center. There's the fake over to the right side. The ball was fumbled. It bounced off, and I think the Raiders collected the football. Oh, there's all sorts of discussion now by the officials because that ball was punched loose and it dropped down onto the ground. And I think that now are the Huskers signaling that it was a touchdown? Well, I guess they're deeming that the Huskers recovered the football, and a touchdown on the most strangest of plays here early in the second quarter, as there was a fumble, but it looked like they recovered it inside the end zone. And with the point after here, they now have a 21-7 lead on the Raiders, and a very strange turn of events. We'll have to get a secondary look at that one as that ball came bouncing out from the ball carrier's arms. But it looks like the Huskers were able to prevail and recover that football. A quick little flip toss, and then you can see him cutting in to the right. Yes, and that's where the football came loose, and it bounced off of one of the Raiders' legs, then off of a back, and down it goes. How did the Raiders not recover? Oh, I guess maybe they felt like that ball had already broken the plane by the time he entered. So I guess they're judging that the fumble occurred after he had entered the end zone, that he'd broken the plane. That must be the call on the field. And you could see the ball bouncing around wildly, but it was just aesthetics at that point. They felt that he had broken the plane with control. And so the touchdown stands, and Dag Mora helping the Huskers establish a 2-touchdown lead. They say it's a game of inches. Boy, and look at that kick just sent right directly down. Harmon Ahuja, look at that spinorama, but he's not going to go anywhere. A whole bunch of Huskers enshroud him, including Dominic Dumais-Roberts, and Dumais-Roberts wraps him up and gets the tackle. Ahuja with a good little spin there, and he almost made it work, but the thing about those spins is you lose a lot of your forward momentum, and actually in there too big on that tackle was Raiden Maston. Maston getting a good piece of him.
Let's go, Harv. You can beat both teams, bud. Let's go.
First down for the Raiders. There's the handoff. And maybe a pickup of a couple of yards as Ron Lyle runs into a bunch of coverage right up the middle of the field. Gain of a yard on the play, so it'll be 2nd and 9. And this would certainly be the best time for the Raiders to start to mount some offense here. And Sadler Smith, he's thrown a lot of touchdowns this season. You know this guy can throw. And he has 2 in motion on his right, but he's looking to his left. And then downfield, Ruben Bonsu with the catch over the middle, and he's got lots of room. He's breaking down the field. Ruben Bonsu, they can't catch him. He's too fast. And that's a touchdown for the Raiders. We talked about that throwing arm and in motion, and look at that discombobulation over the middle, but he picks the perfect route, and he just escapes Junior Munyaka and breaks loose, and suddenly Raider Nation, lots of reason to celebrate. Ruben Bonsu lighting up a big gain, and it's suddenly a 1-touchdown game again. And with emphasis, that one goes way over to the kids in the far field. And that's the game ball to chase after, guys. A little fellow there with quite the head of blonde hair. Just about had that football, but those kids love it. That's what they're here for. And they give it back to the official. Those are some good kids. They get a high five for that. And high fives for the Raiders returning to the bench. And thanks, guys, down there. Those are the future stars of the game. I, once upon a time, would be near the fields and running around, throwing the football, trying to get other kids to play pass. And, the grassroots of this game, that's what it's all about. And it's a game of desire. You really got to want it. And you really got to, as we mentioned earlier in the broadcast, you got to be ready to pay the price. Football's a game not for the lighthearted, but for the stern and rugged. And endurance is a big part of the football landscape. Onside kick attempt, and it sure is. Look at that placement, and it's caught, and they're just going to make the safe play. Adam Greenhill grabbed that ball, and he knew that there was black jerseys aplenty all around him, but made sure that football was secure and snug in both arms. And you see him just put on the brakes. He couldn't get down to the field fast enough. Make sure that there's no fumble on that play. As Chase Holloway with the tackle on that play. Huskers 1st and 10 from the 43. Duvall lining up with Harb to his left, but a deep throw of their own, and it's caught. Can the Raiders catch up? It's a foot race, and it's in. Unbelievable catch and run and tick for tack. Peyton Lake says, Ruben, I got some jets too. And what a throw and catch. And, the Raiders have some fast, fleet runners out there, but unfortunately after this well-thrown ball, there was just nothing that could be. Wow, look at him take that in the first couple of strides. Unbelievable run. And an answer right back from the Huskers, and we've got ourselves one whale of a football game here. So now 28-14, so the Huskers in the double-up position once again. So an incredible catch leads Peyton Lake and company to a 28-14 lead. Hard to believe we're only a few minutes into this second quarter. Ball rolling on edge. Harmon Ahuja finds room on the outside. And there's a flag on the play as he darts out around the 50. And as I mentioned, such good running on display here by both teams. Luke Rodriguez, one of the speedsters for the Huskers, but on that touchdown play, Peyton Lake showing he's got incredible jets too. And now most recently Harmon Ahuja, but that play's being dialed back here as the Raiders tagged with a penalty on that return. And you don't see that too often where the ball is kind of rolling sideways like that downfield. It's very rarely that a kick results in the ball rolling the way that it did. Thought that was pretty interesting. And for a punt returner, that's always an interesting scenario because you still got to pick it up in motion and with some speed. Huskers look hungry on this defensive line. Ron Lyle picks it up. Oh, he gets through a couple of tackles and then brought down maybe about 4 yards shy or so of the first down. Ron Lyle with that cool little matching cleats and sock set up there. Ten on the play clock. Ron Lyle in the shotgun with Giancola behind him. Giancola in motion, and Ron Lyle going to bring it out to the outside. Oh, he got caught from the back, and they're going to shove him forward a little bit. Nick Reimer, with the initial contact and helps slow Ron Lyle up enough to get that tackle for his mates. And that's going to bring about a third down situation for the VI Raiders, and they're going to have to punt this football away. Some good defense by the Huskers, and they continue to have a strong ground game, but they've mixed it up with some excellent air attacks as well. And the Valley Huskers looking pretty solid on both sides of the ball here today. And the VI Raiders trying to keep pace. But they're going to have to wait a little bit before they exercise their offensive option again. Punt is away. Andrew Mattis getting it downfield, and a solid point of contact there as Luke Rodriguez bounces off of a couple of Raiders, including Dawson Eifert. Eifert, one of the first in on the contact. So 1st and 10 from the 42 for the Valley Huskers. They're going to run it right down the middle, and just another safe little run. courtesy of Jawad Harb. Picked up about half of the yardage needed. Maybe just under. About 4.5 yards there on the play for Harb. And as I mentioned, he's been steadily gathering these 5, 6, 7 yard chunks. It looks like the Huskers trying to draw the Raiders into an offside penalty, but it doesn't quite work. The time clock now whittling down to 3 seconds, but they get the ball away and they hand off from the pocket. Once again, Harb makes it up close to the midfield area, but he gets the first down, and that's going to be a fresh set of downs for the Huskers once again. Jawad Harb taking that one neatly and runs into the open arms of Nathan Haliuk, but Haliuk unable to stop him before the first down mark. Looking downfield for the pass, Duval. Now he's in trouble over the middle, and he finds Harb, who had his leg wrapped up, and that was a good tackle by Kaya Saunders. Saunders making sure that he had his leg, and that even if he got free for a moment, he knew he had mates coming to finish off the tackle. And Saunders getting that leg, making sure, and that keeps the Huskers to basically no yards earned on the play.
Left in the first half. Huskers lead the Raiders 28-14. We remind you, you can pick up 50-50 tickets. We'll make the draw in the fourth quarter. You can walk out here with $300 or $400.
Denzel Igahan down on the field.
BI Raiders mini football toss coming up at halftime. 3 balls for $5, $2 each. If you don't see the girls walking around the crowd with a bucket full of mini footballs, you can come on up to the merch tent and pick yours up. You'll throw it in the back of the Meekus transport truck, and you can win some great prizes.
So there was an illegal block on the offense, but that penalty declined.
Coming up at halftime.
So second and about 9. Duval. Oh, he was found right away in the pocket. Big tackle from Daniel Obinkwo, and as I mentioned, he's one of the 5 players, one of the 5 veterans that's playing his last as a VI Raiders, and he's going to put that one in the memory book. Big sack in the pocket, and he gives his mates exactly what they needed. So now 3rd and 15 for the Huskers. So Obinkwo helping his mates reclaim that football. And they're down by a couple of majors, so 9 minutes left in the second quarter and in the first half. Ball bounces out around the 34-yard line. And so the Raiders looking to take over there. And a big play by Daniel Obinkwo. The Raiders need the football now, and they need it often. Sadler-Smith's making some signaling gestures to the sidelines, and I think looking for a little confirmation of what play they're going to run here. First and 10, and the O-line needs to help put together a drive here. One in motion on the right. Into the pocket goes Smith. He's pointing downfield. He's going to have to scramble. Gets to the outside. Oh, he got tagged, and he throws it just out of bounds. And Sadler-Smith, that last second hit nearly sunk him out over the out of bounds line, but good job by the quarterback to make sure he got rid of that football when that first play didn't materialize the way he wanted. You could see him point downfield right over the screen, but that quickly evaporated and that option was gone. Sadler-Smith having to rely on his legs. Second and 10, big down for the Raiders here. One at each side as they give him some room. He throws the football over the middle, and Romanoff got hit as he caught that football, but catch it he did. And even though he landed on his back, he still brought that football down. And now the Raiders with an interesting decision here. It's close. And I think like just in the, well, actually maybe not quite as close as we thought. A good 3 yards remaining, but I think they feel they've got to make a push here. Down by a couple of majors. Sadler Smith. Oh, he just kicks it right straight up. Interesting play. It bounces off, and the Raiders have possession. What a crazy play. And the officials are going to talk this over. They want to see if that football traveled the necessary length. And I was actually speaking with Don Miller, who's one of the lead statisticians here on the island, about some of the new rules in the NFL, and he was asking what my take was on the new landing area and the purposeful kicks. And overall, my take is that I think if you can make the kickers need even more accuracy in their game I think it just adds a little extra element to the game, and it makes the kickers, yes, and they point downfield for the Raiders, so it is a Raiders possession, and so basically the onside kick, if that's what you want to call it, it works, and the Raiders still have possession of the football and a fresh set of downs, and it's a big gamble, but the Raiders pay off as no one was expecting Sadler Smith to punt that one up in the air like he did. And it bounced off of a couple of Huskers shoulder pads on the way down. And the Raiders recover, and they can keep working on this drive. Smith with Ron Lyle in behind him. And that's where it goes. Ron Lyle cuts right back towards the inside. And there's a big crowd in there that didn't let him advance much further. Jonah Siciliano with the first point of contact. And having to escape that first hit put him right into the arms of Hayden Agiamon. So the linebacker wrapping him up. 2nd and 8. 2 in motion on the right. Bonsu over the middle, and that's where it's going. He finds him over the screen, running out towards the 50, picking up extra yards near the center line, and that's a first down. Ruben Bonsu, he's got a touchdown, and now he's got a big first down to add.
First down, BI Raiders.
Perfect timing, and as I was mentioning, Bonsu was in motion, and he just had to wait for the screen to develop. There he goes. And from there on out, it was just a foot race with Andy Ofasaheen, the linebacker. So just over the midfield. Again, the Raiders with a fresh set of downs. Some protection near the line. And the run forward by Lyle gets him to the 50, and that's probably where they're going to mark it as everyone stalls out. Right around the 50-yard line.
This is their last game as a Vancouver Island
Gain of about 5 on the play. Maybe just under.
6 players. We'll get to those names in just a minute.
And the Huskers looking for direction from the sidelines as well. There's number 31 again, Aiden Harker, and he's had huge defensive stamps on this game so far. And a very big defensive play that led to a touchdown. Sadler Smith, he's going to get on his horse, and he runs forward, and he dove. And how close did he get? Oh, my goodness, it's so close. I think he might have it. It's going to be incredibly close. Yes, it looks like they've got the first down. So a dive from Sadler Smith. I think they have it anyways. Oh, pardon me. It's just going to be inches now. Yeah, he did slide a little bit. It looked like he'd made it over those little red markings on the field there that signify around the 44-yard mark. Time for another shove here. Giancola from the back, and they push him forward, and that should about do it.
First down.
So with just under 5 minutes remaining in the first half, Sadler Smith 2 straight dives and make sure he gets the necessary yards, and they've got another set of downs here, and this is turning into a big drive here in this second half. The Raiders would love to get another answer back here before the half is over. Smith with Lyle to his right, and Giancola moving up for protection for the pocket, and they're going to call a timeout.
Timeout.
Probably as good a time as any for the Raiders to get this just right. A fresh set of downs, and
been with us for their entire junior football
just outside the 40-yard line.
Recognize those guys at halftime.
Big shout out to all of the fans making today's game, of course, and not just for the VI Raiders, but also for the Valley Huskers fans that made the trip over from the mainland. And a warm welcome to you here in Nanaimo. It's a good place to play football, and I remember the first time I called a football game here, it was actually for the Okanagan Sun, and I remember thinking to myself that this field, it's just a great place to play football. And that Starlight Stadium for the West Shore Rebels looking pretty tight as well. I was watching some of the replays there, and the city did a really great job locating the Starlight Stadium where they did, and it's very accessible for fans out in that area. Out in Colwood, and there, out to the side, Blaze McCarty jumps forward, and he'll get a couple of yards on that play. He got his feet grabbed quickly, and once again, number 31, Aiden Harker, keeping busy, making big plays, and it's pretty hard to get away from that young man's grasp. Very tenacious player, and again, a huge play defensively in the first quarter that really set the Huskers up for success. That's when they went up 21-7. 2 in motion on the right. That's where Smith's looking. Oh, look at the pressures. He got pushed back by the defensive line. And there's some real sportsmanship from the Huskers. Tyson Hulgan helping one of the Raiders up after making a big defensive play. You could see him shoving the masses backwards, and that's what caused all of the problems for Sadler Smith, is that power forcing him back by Hulgan. And it's a big defensive play. Now the Raiders with an all-important third down decision, and looks like they're going to gamble for all the marbles here.
They do that at halftime here at the Vancouver Raiders Huskers game at NDSS.
Well, they actually are going to punt it now, and that's probably the safest play they can make at the moment. You don't want to concede any extra yards here as it's collected in the backfield by Rodriguez, and he got caught, but there's a flag immediately, and I don't know if it was due to the tackle, but immediately there was a flag as soon as Rodriguez had control of the football.
The Raiders 14.
Picks it up with one hand, and I don't know if it was related to the tackle, but it didn't seem to be anything untowards about the tackle itself. And interestingly, the penalty goes against the Huskers. So there was something to do with the blocking of the oncoming coverage that was detected by the officials. And now the Huskers very much deep in their own zone. 5-yard line they go, and Duval, as is quite often the case, has Jawad Harb lined up beside him. And Rodriguez to his right. 1 in motion. And it is going to be swung out to the man in motion, and he picked it up in flight, and he gets run out, but not before the first down plus. And a good run from Stephen Koniak, and the 2 touchdown man adds more yards to his resume here this afternoon as he sends the ball down. From the 23, out of the pocket, lots of time for Duvall. Now he's getting flushed out a little bit. Pass is complete to Rodriguez, and not much extra after the catch, but he didn't need too much more. They're within 2.5 yards of the first down now, maybe 3. So it'll be second and actually maybe closer to 4 yards here as the official is figuring out exactly where to mark that. So 2nd and 4. 2.5 minutes left in the first half here. There's the run through the middle, ran into a big wall of white and dark and pushed back, and that's going to negate, I believe, the hope of a first down. It's going to be very close, though, wherever they mark it from, but I think they're still going to be a little bit shy here, about half a yard, maybe about half a yard, so very close here, 1 yard at the maximum. So 3rd and 1 for the special teams they're bringing out here for the Huskers. And they want to pull off some emulation of Sadler-Smith, most likely. Quarterback dive here as Duvall goes up close to the line of scrimmage, which he rarely does, and he looks like he made it through. He made a slight adjustment over to his right. And he gets it through and resets the chains, and it's an important play for the Huskers to keep this drive alive. First and 10 for the Huskers. Duvall, nice pass. And right over a couple of dark jerseys, including Marcus Harvey there, and another completion for Koniak. There's a good look at Brady Hymanek for the Huskers. Oh, and an immediate sack. They got in there quick, and that was the defensive play that Tanny Wisdom needed to pull out of the repertoire there to help the VI Raiders slow this assault down a little bit. The Huskers have been stringing play after play together here, and they run into the defensive prowess of Tanny Wisdom, number 22. 3 in motion on the near side, but Duvall looking left. There it goes downfield. It's up high and caught just over the 50-yard line. And once again, the ladder gets climbed. Peyton Lake doing all sorts of good work on the receiving end. Actually, pardon me, that was Colby Johnson, pardon me. It looked like that might have been Lake. Very similar stature, but tall, wide receiver, and you can see him jump up and claim that ball. And Felice Toscano didn't allow him any extra yards, but there was just a difficult task. There's the throw, and that was to no one in particular as Duvall was being hurried in the pocket. Sterling Henry and company applying some heat on that play. Second and 10. From the 52. Duvall into the pocket. Quick swing out to his right. And that ball was caught, and a good adjustment on the fly by Jawad Har, but not enough to get anywhere near the first down. So with a 3rd and 10 situation, it's a special teams turnabout here for both clubs. And it's a good thing for the Raiders. They were able to stymie that drive here late in the first half. 1:11 left on the clock for the first half. And again, on behalf of the Roll Focus crew and myself, Yarrow and Thelia and Mike Walker, the whole crew's here, and we're having a good time. Hope you're enjoying it too. Island football at its best here in the BC Football Conference. Harmon Ahuja collects that in the backfield way deep. Makes a stutter step near the out of bounds, but he's tied up and brought down by Hercules Pretorius, who scrambles quickly after making the play and make way for this defensive line of the Huskers, looking to round out this final minute of the first half and hopefully escape without any further points or damage from the VI Raiders. And the Raiders have a long way to go with just 55 seconds on the clock. A little extra discussion in the VI Raiders huddle to get this sorted out. Ron Lyle right in behind Sadler Smith, now approaches the line, giving Smith some time to scramble a little to his right. Way out now, he's going to go for a run, and he takes it out of bounds right in front of his mates on the bench, and there's a flag thrown high in the air by the official as Sadler Smith ducks out. He had a good look to his left, but he once again had a whole bunch of number 99 right in front of him, Tyson Hulgan, so he knew that running that football was probably the only play in that repertoire. But the good news is they're moving the chains on plays like that, and he took it out of bounds, so only 7 seconds ticked off the clock on that last down.
The Raiders will get an extra 10.
Once again, some extra discussion there in the huddle.
95 minutes, 15 from the end of the play, first down.
15. First down,
And some
the Raiders from the 40.
help with the field position here. Smith with Ron Lyle in behind, and the offensive line pointing out some of the oncoming traffic. Quick side out. Oh, and a little extra scramble there. Ruben Bonsu might have had a few more yards there, but it looks like they're actually going to lose a couple on the play.
I'll encourage you to hang around a little bit here at halftime as we have a special presentation for a couple of guys who have been playing for the Vancouver Round Raiders for 5 years. 5 years. So that means through COVID.
I just heard the public announcer mention that in the halftime that they're going to be doing a special presentation for those 5 retiring Raiders. There's the snap, rolling way out to his right. There's Sadler Smith. Now he throws the football, and it was caught. About the 42-yard line is where that one's snagged. And the clock stopped at 20 seconds remaining here. So we're down to most likely the last couple of plays of this first half, and there's I believe a timeout called by the Huskers.
The Huskers calling the timeout.
Valley Huskers acquitting themselves very well today, coming into this contest 5-4 on this season, and their run game has been particularly strong today. Luke Rodriguez with a couple of barn-burning runs in that first quarter really set the tone for this football game. And Jawad Harb continuing to move the chain. Stephen Koniak with a couple of touchdown strikes. And it's a 28-14 lead with but mere moments left in this first half. Raiders with the football from the 42. 4-man lineup there in the backfield for this kick to make sure that it... Oh, look, it immediately caught there on the run. And Luke Rodriguez, there's a flag in the backfield, and he's still going. There's not too many Raiders left to try and pick him out as he heads over to the left side of the field. And it's going to be a foot race. Can he get all the way, or will he be pushed out? He gets in. And Rodriguez, I no sooner mentioned the Jets he's shown today, and he punches in one of his own, and he has certainly deserved that. What a body of work here today, but that flag in the backfield, very important flag thrown. Is it against the Raiders? So an amazing run by Luke Rodriguez, brought back by a holding call. And the VI Raiders dodging a late second half bullet there. I didn't catch the number for the holding, but regardless, the Huskers with a big play right at the very end of the first half with 1 second remaining on the clock. Get a touchdown called back due to a holding call, so a little bit of reprieve for the VI Raiders, and will most likely only enter the half down by a couple. Here's that big flying V run as they try and move it forward, and they'll get just past the 50. And that should about do it for that first half. All the Raiders know it is. They're heading off the field, and that'll make way for the special presentation for the 5 retiring VI Raiders. And there's a good look at Jawad Harb. He's been doing some real yeoman's work running today. And I'd say his average carry today has probably been in the 5 or 6 yard territory. And for any coach, that kind of consistency is a very, very welcome addition to any club. And there's that early touchdown by Ron Lyle that set the tone and gave the home team a 7-0 lead. But the Huskers had designs. They had a few tricks of their own. As we mentioned, Harb so busy this afternoon running that football. Duvall hooking up with one of his favorite targets here. That was an eye-opening catch, let me tell you. Luke Rodriguez, and that set up a touchdown to tie this football game up. And it was really back and forth. As I mentioned, tick for tack in the early going. But the footballs have been where they need to be when they've been thrown, and Stephen Koniak with a big catch there. Luke Rodriguez, such good speed, and he can just stop on an almost dime. He's been a big part of this opening half of the football game. And that was that significant fumble that didn't actually wind up turning into anything but a touchdown for the Huskers. And Ruben Bonsu with an incredible catch and run. And he outlasts and outspeeds Raiden Maston for the touchdown. And the Raiders separated by a couple of TDs here as they go into halftime. Been a great football game so far, and both teams mostly playing for pride at this point, and the Huskers would love to come out of the season 6-4 on the positive side. We're going to step away for a few minutes, but we'll be back with more BC Football Conference football. It's Raider style, visiting the Valley Huskers here 5-4, looking to make it 6-4 on the season.
your family if you could. Come here. Can you talk to me? Tell me what were you saying there, honey? Oh, yikes, yikes. That's what she said, yikes. You want to come and say hi? What do you want to say?
My papa.
Oh, your papa? There he is. What do you say? You got a big cheer for your dad? Atta girl. Go, daddy, go. And of course, there's mom and dad, two of Nanaimo's favorites, Andrew and Liz. Once again, number 42, Andrew Mattis, everybody. And number 3, receiver Paul Romanoff. Once again, as you can see, we added a couple of minutes to the halftime break, not only for this, but to give our umpires and referees a chance to shuffle some stuff around as we had a couple of issues with them getting in here as well.
I think the team is ingrained in the community here, and it's something that, being part of Vancouver Island Drives and Vancouver Island Raiders, we felt like was a perfect fit. We want to support local teams, local businesses, and we feel like these are the guys to get it done this year. So we're super excited to get involved with the team. So let's go, boys. Let's fire it up. Woo!
Okay, everybody, let's have a great show. Jesse's gonna throw, look out, Karen Masad, got it.
There from full pickup, who will pass it there to Jesse King, who scores again!
At West Shore Motorsports Park.
In the box for Parmar, and she's done it.
NDSS Field, the home of the VI Raiders, and 5 retiring players after today. Andrew Mattis and Savian Townsend, Daniel Openquo, Ola Adigbite, all of these players putting in sensational times at bat here with this team, and looking forward to seeing what they can provide here in this second half of football. The Raiders need a couple of touchdowns to even this one up, so a bit of a task at hand. But considering the way that the teams were trading offense in the first quarter particularly, it doesn't seem like such a stretch. You know, some games you see the teams are playing defense, just not allowing hardly anything along the ground and making you beat the one-on-one coverage and the safety if you're going to go deep downfield. And this game's had a lot. It's had a couple of touchdowns. Stephen Koniak, and for their part, Ron Lyle punching one in, along with Ruben Bonsu with an incredible catch and run in the second quarter. And it's now a 2-touchdown game. It was 21-7 at one point for the Valley Huskers. The Raiders certainly readying themselves for a triumphant entry next season. There's just so many signs of promise. I was speaking with Yarrow in the intermission, and we were talking about just the leaps and bounds that this team has grown, and some of the adversity that they've overcome. Of course, it's never easy being a team that is in the middle of a full-on rebuild. 31 new green faces this year for the VI Raiders, but they've come together nicely here, and they've had a great end-of-season run with some unlikely wins. That 43-11 win over the West Shore Rebels, one of the most notable road wins in VI Raider recent history that I can recall. And, of course, you were here with me 2 weeks ago for their first home win since the 2020 season. So the opening kickoff here for the second half, the Raiders received in the first half, and they'll give it away to the Huskers. And a low-hanging kick all the way back to Luke Rodriguez, who had a TD pulled back. Oh, he just had his arm swung back, but he managed to get away from that tackle. And he runs it up to about the 34-yard line. And that's where the O-line will go to work here. And for their part, the Raiders sending out the D-line here. And just a good solid run again by Luke Rodriguez. He's so shifty, and as I mentioned on that one replay, as we saw just before the end of the first half, he can literally stop on a dime. He just dug in and was traveling about, 20 kilometers an hour and just came to a stop. Look at that jump over the crowd. And an amazing jump by number 11, Jawad Harb, and you won't see that too often. And that is literally climbing the ladder. There's a highlight for you. There's sometimes you try and go around them, but if the building's too tall, sometimes you got to get your cape on. Wow, and he just had part of his left leg caught in midair, and a sack in the backfield there, and the Huskers, number 19, Dominic Dumais-Roberts, with his arms up in the air saying, hey, I was letting go of my man. I wasn't trying to hold him. So a third and about one situation here, and the Huskers are going to bring actually a couple of players unsure if they're coming on or not, but they are going to bring on the short yardage attempt unit here. And for their part, Kaya Saunders going to swap off here in favor of Nathan Halliuk. And all sorts of whistles as they try and get set for this important third down, but there's something that the backside official doesn't like, and he's doing some counting out on the field to make sure the proper personnel is out there. And I just think with that scrambly change that everyone had over on the sidelines, that they wanted to get a secondary count. So now we're going to get back to playing some football. Tyron Duvall looking over to the sidelines for a little bit of direction here. And he's right tied up. Tries for the sneak. How far did he get? And the Raiders are saying that they don't think he got enough, but the referee holds up his finger. And it's a first down, not by a lot, but both clubs trying to plead their case that it was either good or not good, but it was a very closely contested couple of inches there. And from the 45-yard line, the Huskers have a first down. Just a couple minutes into this second half, and the lights starting to be a little bit more of a factor here as the afternoon starts to slowly darken a little bit here at Nanaimo District Secondary School. And still a little bit of confusion. I get there's something with one of the flags that they're trying to repair here on the first through 3 down a yard marker, but looks like everything's squared away. And there's the snap, the handoff to Jawad Harb, and he gets hit right back around the line of scrimmage, and it's no gain on the play, so it'll be another, or maybe a yard at best there. So second and about 9. Huskers picking up about a yard there, and that'll bring Jawad Harb's overall average down a little bit there, just picking up the single yard. But as I mentioned, he's been good for 5, 6, 7. There's 2 in motion on the near side, and that's where Duvall is looking, but he's going to throw it over the middle, and it was in the turf there. It almost was caught, and that was a great attempt by Dag Mora, who had a big catch in the second quarter. But the ball was just a little bit underthrown here, and Dag Mora tried to turn back towards it. But he also heard the footsteps and knew as soon as he touched that ball that Sterling Henry was right on top of him. So that's going to force a punt. And the Huskers boot it downfield, courtesy of Gabriel Yapen. Ball bouncing out in front of the Raiders bench. And here comes the Raiders O-line, and back in control of the football. 3 minutes off of the clock in this second half. As I mentioned, all sorts of football left, so the Raiders can still make this one pretty interesting here if they can string together a bit of a drive with this football. Ron Lyle waiting for the motion. There's the tip to Bonsu. Bonsu cut to the middle and maybe grabbed a couple extra yards, maybe a gain of about 2 on the play. So a lot of running for a couple of yards there for Bonsu, but tried to use that motion to befuddle the Huskers defense. But again, you could see number 31, Aiden Harker. He was on the inside of your screen, and he's just always flying around out there. He's been a huge factor in this game defensively, and I'd hate to play against number 31. 2 in motion on the right. Sadler Smith looking down, up in the air. What a catch! That's a beautiful catch by the Raiders, and a great throw as well Parker Mosgrip, he's been silent since that nice play in the opening quarter, but he brings the fans to life here. And Sadler Smith trying to get the proper signal. It looked like things were a bit loud there out on the field for him. Looked like he was trying to channel the something being said to him there. Smith with Ron Lyle in behind him and one in motion on the right. Lyle takes a cut to the middle, gets up near the center line, and around the 53-yard line he's brought down, so a pickup of about 6 on the play. Ron Lyle on the run, and as I mentioned before, and I was talking in the intermission with Yarrow there about the importance of the run game and how both teams have really come out today with their best running schematics. And both teams, if you've got strong legs, you got to use them. There's the throw and the catch by Paul Romanoff, and there's another way to send off number 3 with a first down strike plus.
First down for the VI Raiders.
Paul Romanoff, one of the legendary 5, set to make this his last game, but he's going to make a memory of it, and he gets many yards on that nice throw and catch. Sadler Smith hooking up with number 3, Paul Romanoff. Ruben Bonsu lining up on the left, and Harmon Ahuja way back in set, but now he's in motion. Same with the far side as Romanoff cuts through over the screen to Romanoff. Bobbled a little bit, but he grabs it, and now he's brought down, but not before grabbing the first down. And once again,
the line of scrimmage.
The Raiders are just using every tool at their disposal here as they march this ball downfield, and it's been a great drive for the Raiders. So from the 33-yard line, Raiders inching towards the red zone here. All sorts of directions being set from the defensive lineman over the screen. Oh, and that was just a little too far for Harmon Ahuja. He was in full flight, but that ball, a little bit extra pepper on it, and it was just a little bit too far in front of him. And now the Raiders with a decision here on the football on 3rd down. I think they're going to make a go of it, and they're talking things over. Sadler Smith looked like he was talking to Ron Lyle a little bit there in particular, and both he and Mosgrip are lined up to the side of him, giving him some added protection in the pocket through the middle, and it's a catch. And the Raiders, they're into pay dirt. It's a touchdown, Raiders.
Touchdown, VI Raiders.
It's a 1-touchdown football game.
It's like a little discussion amongst the officials there.
Now there is some discussion on the field, and now I didn't see a flag. That's the perplexing thing here, is that I didn't see a flag thrown. But for the moment, Blaze McCarty has run it into the end zone, and all sorts of discussion. I'm not sure what all of this is going to add up to. But on the play, Blaze McCarty with the catch, and he runs it into the end zone. But now Parker Mosgrip right there with the officials. He wants to know what the determination is here. And for their part, I see Kalen LeBlanc for the Huskers. He had run onto the field with just carrying his helmet, but then he ran back off. Very important call here. And there's so much discussion from the officials, it almost feels like it could be coming back against the Raiders, which would be a shame on that big catch by number 14, Blaze McCarty. But they are pointing in the direction of the Raiders, so it looks like it might have been a penalty against the Raiders. They might have to – oh, and there is the flag that was retrieved, but it was retrieved quickly by the number 98 official. So, Yes, it will. It is coming back against the Raiders, and that's unfortunate. The fans were excited, but they might have to postpone some of that enthusiasm here.
14.
And the ball being placed at the 30-yard line.
Let's go, Raiders! You can beat both teams!
Still discussion as the officials recount that play. So that play was chock full of things that only the referees can decipher. And at the end of it all, the Raiders at first down on the 30, and they're going to have to try and punch it in again. Ron Lyle on the reverse flip there to Harmon Ahuja. Now over to Sadler Smith, who's running for his life towards the out of bounds. He escapes the man. Now he throws it downfield, coming back in. It took a deflection, and it was an air ball. It got touched by Junior Munyaka, but they were unable to control the rebound. But thankfully for the VI Raiders, it's just considered an incomplete pass. And you can see him scrambling for his very life there. Xander Crosswell had him in the crosshairs. And pardon me, that was actually Hayden Aguiman that tipped that football. So Aguiman doing a good job for the Huskers. But now it looks like there's a penalty assessed against the Huskers. So the ball moving downfield to the 20. So a 10-yard penalty against the Huskers. So now exactly at the dot considered the red zone for the VI Raiders. And they've got another opportunity here with plenty of time remaining in this football game. 8 minutes here remaining in the third quarter. What an entertaining football game today. Ron Lyle takes the snap, gets a block through the right, and moves the ball down. Looks like he picked up about maybe 5 on the play. Ron Lyle helping eat into this backfield. Actually a gain of 6 on the play. So second and about 4 for the Raiders. So both teams having a touchdown called back. One for the Huskers with 1 second remaining in the second quarter. A whole bunch in motion. Ron Lyle cuts up through the middle and he gets into the end zone. Ron Lyle makes sure, and I can announce it now, it's a 1-touchdown game.
Touchdown.
Ron Lyle. I told you there was all sorts of great running happening here today, and number 15 makes it happen. Look at that great block at the line. Oh my goodness, such a good block by Luka Bordages, and he really helped make that play happen for number 15. Ron Lyle now officially makes it a 1 TD game. And this game playing out very close to the game script I thought we might see. Based on that 43-11 win over the West Shore Rebels, it just seems like the VI Raiders have found their offensive stride, and some of these plays they've put together here on that last drive, definitely an exclamation mark on that. So with a little over 7 minutes remaining in the third quarter, it's back to a 1-touchdown game, and the fans are getting their money's worth here tonight. Huskers showing up very well here on both sides of the ball. And as I mentioned, they're really up against it as far as the way that the aesthetics will read. It's so much different finishing a season 5-5 as opposed to 6-4, and that's exactly where the Huskers are at as they receive this low punt. Once again, Rodriguez a little bit over to his left. He ran into one of his mates there as he was running up. He ran into Borelli, and that'll stop that punt return. So from the 37, that's where the Huskers will line this up. And they're looking for a little bit of retribution here after delaying the Raiders putting up a major score, but ultimately Ron Lyle getting it into the end zone, and the game is back up for grabs. Look at this run all the way up to about the 48, and I think one of the Raiders got hurt there. That didn't look very good. Whichever Raider is down on the field, I can't see his number right now, but he was motionless for a second, and now he gets back up, and that's Savion Townsend. And he takes his helmet off right away. It looked like it was kind of scary there for a moment as the number 11 for the Huskers, Jawad Harb, continues to pile up yards here today. And you could see right away Savion Townsend, he was face down, and it was a bit of a scary moment there for Raider Nation. But he's off to the bench on his own steam. In the pocket, Duval, fake handoff. Now he throws the screen pass over to an open Luke Rodriguez. And I think at the end of it all, he's going to pick up they'll get the first down and more. An extra 4 yards on top of the first down. So that moves the chains, and the ball's going to be placed at the 54-yard line. That's the 46-yard line of the Raiders. So the ball being moved downfield by the Huskers. There's the handoff on the slow run. Jawad Harb makes the first down, and things are getting exciting here for Huskers fans as this running game has really been a thing of beauty here today. Jawad Harb, you notice how he had that little slow start there, and he got a little help from his mates up in front. Dylan Lepka, the offensive lineman, helping him pick up an extra 3 yards on that play. Duval with Harb right beside him. Once again, hands off. He's down through the middle. They had his jersey for a moment, and they will bring him down, but not before picking up a whole bunch more yards. Nathan Halliuk with the tackle, but the Raiders more worried about the consistent ball movement downfield into their own zone. And speaking of red zone areas, that's exactly where the Huskers are now. Duval, one in motion on his left, and he flips it to him. Rodriguez puts his head down, and he runs into a tackle. And it looks like he cut in about maybe 4 or 5 yards on the play. Luke Rodriguez. All sorts of great runs here this afternoon, and the same for Jawad Harb. And Duval's just giving it to the hot hand. Rodriguez in motion on the right, and that's where it's going, and it's in the turf. And at the last minute, he decided to go for Colby Johnson. So Rodriguez was the decoy, but Johnson would have had to come back incredibly quick towards that football to catch it, and it'll be now seeing third down. So important moments here for both clubs as the Huskers are in the red zone area and threatening to widen this back to a 2-touchdown game. There's the handoff, and in through the end zone, and it's a touchdown for the Huskers. Peyton Lake takes that football to the house, and again, it's a 2 TD difference.
You guys do the dirty dancing lift after every
Peyton
touchdown.
Lake. Look at that immediate hesitation that he made, and that was enough before Giancola could wrap him up and take him down as he broke the plane. A great stop up and hesitation for Peyton Lake as he waited for both the coverage to almost overshoot him a little bit, and he tucks it in, and now a 35-21 football game, and once again, a 2 TD difference. A little under 4 minutes remaining here in the third quarter. And it has to be noted that the Huskers have done a great job offensively this year of noticing a lot of high-scoring results here for the Huskers. And it's a testament to their ball control and particularly the way they've been running the ball on the ground. Luke Rodriguez with an incredibly fast set of legs to carry him for big yards here today. And Jawad Harb also padding his numbers here today. And they've got the Huskers up by a couple. So the Raiders answered back, but once again the Huskers continue to find ways to run the football, and they've been throwing a lot of different plays here. Savian Townsend from the backfield, a Sutter step, goes towards the middle, but they're all over his shoulders, and they're going to throw him to the ground. And a little bit extra there, it looked like, from number 94 from the Huskers, Nick Reimer, but I'm not sure that he'll pick up anything on the play, but he definitely gave the ball carrier an extra shot when he got up. And the Huskers all sorts of fueled up today. Pride on the line, and they want to finish the season with a 6-4 record, and at the moment they've certainly made big insteps towards making that happen. But the Raiders with a mind of their own to keep battling and to send their 5 veterans off with a game to remember. The fake handoff, Sadler Smith throws it way out of bounds, and nobody home there, as I think that play didn't unfold the way Sadler Smith wanted it to, so opted to just get rid of the ball. There's a shot of Blaze McCarty in the background, and number 34, Samir Gurwal for the Huskers, the defensive back. Huskers such a good-sized club and a number of different attacking options. Been incredibly impressed with Luke Rodriguez today.
Parker, let's go Raiders!
Sadler Smith over the screen. That's caught by Ron Lyle. Finds a spot in the middle, and he moves it downfield. And it looks like he got enough to pick up the first down, so an important play for the Raiders as they move the chains here, and more importantly, get it out of their own territory. And there is a whistle on the play, so they're going to have a hydration break here, I believe. Oh, no, pardon me, they're actually calling for the trainer, and I think that's maybe for Ron Lyle as he is down on his left knee there. Something to do with his right leg. It looks like his shin potentially. Probably had some contact there, maybe some shin on shin before he went down to the turf, but he'll try and walk this one off gingerly. But definitely his right shin there. You can see down on the field, number 5, Raiden Maston signaling over towards his bench for something, looking maybe for a bit of instruction, as Blaze McCarty will line up right in front of him here on the near side. Same with Paul Romanoff, who's in motion. There's the snap, handoff to Giancola, and the fake throw. Giancola gets a couple extra yards after the contact, and I think he was good for 7 yards there.
Halfway there, second down.
As he ran into Andy Ofasaheen, and Ofasaheen wrapped him up tight and hard. Still managed a couple yards after that, but look at this contact here. As soon as they, that left shoulder of Ofasaheen was right in there. So good job by Giancola to grab those couple extra yards. And actually maybe 6 on the play, 2nd and 4, movement at the line. Sadler Smith fakes the throw, looks downfield. There's a flag on the play. Jump ball for McCarty, and it bounced out of his hands and down into the turf. But for a moment, it looked like maybe it was close enough that either he or Adam Greenhill could have potentially snagged that ball after that first touch. But it's going to go down as an incomplete pass, but there's a penalty up against the Huskers, and they're marking it out now. And it looks like it. So it looks like it is a first down now, and the chain's being moved, so that penalty will be costly for the Huskers, as it guarantees the Raiders another set of downs here. Sadler Smith, he's been dangerous with those this season, and boy, he'd love to keep this drive alive. Moscript on the near side, but the handoff to Giancola finds some room in the middle, got over the center line, and then he plows forward, and again, that one's looking like for sure another 6-yard pickup, maybe closer to 7, as Giancola continues pumping those strong legs of his. And I think they've been using him a little more sparingly after a heavy workload right around the midpoint of the season. And he seems to be responding well as he's tucked in behind Sadler Smith on this snap, and he'll take it again as he rambles down the right side. And some great contact there immediately from Xander Crosswell.
First down, VI.
And another first down as he picks up 5 on the play. Giancola starting to become a factor in this game, as the last couple of runs he's been moving the chains, and now they're past the midfield, and ball at the 48 of the Huskers. They have 3 up on the front line. There's the handoff once again. Giancola found some room again, and he's rambling through, and another first down, but did the ball come loose? There were bodies rolling around, and they're trying to signal like the ball was turned over, but I think they're going to rule it that the ball was down. One of the Huskers has come up celebrating with the football, Andy Ofasaheen, but I think they're going to call it that his knees were down on that play.
The players and the crowd.
But we'll see how they call it. But if not, it's another first down. But the Huskers continuing to point downfield, and wow, it is a turnover, and the Raiders' drive stops short.
That seems a bit unpopular.
So it'd be good to
Time to switch ends.
take a secondary look, but there was so much happening on that play. But they are ruling that it was a fumble, and that Giancola wasn't already down on the play, that his knees hadn't touched.
Hey, refs, are you sharing a bus with the Huskers or what?
There's the handoff. He's got the carry under his right arm. And as he tried to gain those extra yards, now you can see it's still tucked in underneath, but somebody on the bottom there, oh yes, they pulled it loose, and Giancola had it for a moment, but it was, I think, pulled in at the last second, and so unfortunate for the Raiders. They were putting together such an incredible drive there, and that would have been another first down from Giancola, but instead they turn over the football. And the Huskers predictably are just going to keep it on the ground for now, and a pickup looks like of about 5 or so on the play, as Jawad Harb given another first down touch, as has been the case here frequently tonight. Now officially into the fourth quarter, 3 in motion on the right side, and the ball was thrown to the left. And Felice Toscano wraps up his man, Colby Johnson, after that catch. So no extra yards after the catch. But the chains now moving for the Huskers. Duvall took that low snap and got rid of it right away, in a good adjustment by Colby Johnson as he had that first touch bounce up off of his hands. Made sure he hung on to the football in tight, and they're going to hand off again to Jawad Harb. and out near the sideline, and there was a flag immediately thrown just as he was stepping out of bounds. So we'll have to wait and see what the call is, but the Raiders have to be stinging a little bit after that fumble recovery by the Huskers. So the Huskers penalized on the play. A 10-yard penalty. So they have to get it to the 54.
Let's go Raiders, get that ball back!
And are currently at the 34. Duvall scrambling out of the pocket. Runs out of room, throws it. And the Raiders are signaling that the ball touched the turf before Colby Johnson grabbed it. And they're going to have to discuss this one. From here, it was almost impossible to tell because of the midfield shelter there that protects all of the audio equipment. We'll have a better look here as that ball was... Oh, he looked like he got his... Oh, it's hard to say. That was... The ball was almost hidden from view, but he did get his left elbow down to try and protect the football from touching the ground. So it'll be interesting to see what they do with this call. And again, there was another flag on the play. It's pretty difficult to see from that angle if they ruled it a complete pass. But there is a penalty against the Huskers and declined, and it looks like ultimately it will be second down. Second and a bunch.
Let's go Raiders!
So they need about 20 yards here. There's the snap. Duvall just hanging in the pocket, looking downfield over the screen, and that was through the hands of Luke Rodriguez. And the Raiders put on enough heat to bring about the special punt unit here for the Huskers. And a little bit of interesting body language there. I was watching Luke Rodriguez after the play had concluded, and it was almost like he was revisualizing his catch as he kind of jumped up and turned his body like as if there was a football being thrown to him. And boy, I love it when these players eat, breathe, and sleep football and are constantly trying to improve and make themselves the ultimate player that they can be. And I'll tell you, Luke Rodriguez, number one, the wide receiver for the Huskers. Well, that snap was high and it's bobbled. Now they have to get it away quick, and it's a low punt. Takes two bounces to Harmon Ahuja. Stops up at center field. Turns back in. Oh, he made a nice cut to the outside as he gets closer to the 40, and he's run out of bounds. And a good play by number 2, Harmon Ahuja. And he'll get his dance on a little bit as Felice Toscano gives him a helmet tap. And he knows his compadre with a good run, and that stutter step at midfield. Oh, boy. Couple of Huskers bid on that one, and then it was just a foot race.
There it is, making noise for the
and a diving side shoulder tackle from Hayden Royal keeps him from getting any further downfield. But now the Raiders with some life and lots of time left on the clock, just under 13 minutes here, and now down to 10 seconds on the time count. They're going to have to hurry it up. Now down to 5. Sadler Smith, 2 in motion on his right. They get it away in time. A quick look now downfield. Paul Romanoff, here's your send-off. Paul Romanoff, that's the send-off you want. 5 years of awesomeness. Paul Romanoff makes it a 1 TD game. What a well-thrown ball, and who was around that could have done anything about that? right to the house, all by himself. Number 3, Paul Romanoff. Beautiful pass under the lights here from NDSS. All sorts of great offense from both teams on display today. The play calling has been terrific. Sean Arabsky mixing things up. And I'm just loving how both teams have gone ground to air and air to ground. Pick your order. Great football game here today, and we're within 7. 12.5 to go, fourth quarter, and the Raiders are going to punt the football to the Huskers. All sorts of side stories and personal triumphs. Some of these veterans going out just exactly the way you want to go out. Paul Romanoff, I can't think of a better way or individual to send to the house on his final home game here with the VI Raiders. And he makes it a very interesting football game once again. No quit in these teams. And from about the 15, Rodriguez. Not too many places to go. He thought about heading towards the Raiders sideline, and that got squashed out, so he elects to head to the inside. And they'll go to work around the 30-yard line here. Some of the fans calling out for defense, and that's exactly what the Raiders want to provide here. Tyron Duvall with the quick handoff. Nowhere to run for Jawad Harb. And Savian Townsend. Oh my goodness, he's happy. That's so good to see Savian Townsend with another big defensive play here, and that's going to bring about a personnel change on the field. Good job by Savian Townsend to hold up that front line, giving them no space to run. Jawad Harb for the first time, no real direction to turn to. In the pocket, there's the throw downfield on the right side, up in the air, and it's intercepted! Savian Townsend intercepts after a big defensive play. Oh my goodness, that's how you go. Flags all over the field. Something happened. Number 3 for the Huskers. Dag Mora was all sorts of hot at Denzel Igahan, and I don't know what for, but Igahan came away celebrating, and Savian Townsend stacks up with Paul Romanoff, and these vets want to go out with some fireworks.
Once again, there's flags all over the place. The officials are talking. We'll wait and see what they say.
And you got to give it to this officiating crew. They've not had an easy task here today, and once again, they're gathered around the 40-yard line, just trying to dissect that last play and everything that happened after the interception. And you can see that one of the penalties is being assessed to the Huskers, and that's the only motion that I saw initially from the ref was against the Huskers, and it looked like a chop block. So at the end of it all, I think it's just going to wind up costing the Huskers some field position here.
That bus ride's starting to look mighty long.
And the referees now having to retrieve some of those fallen flags on the field. And now the Raiders knocking on the door of a tie. Huge field position readjustment here. just like the Raiders at the end of the second quarter, there's a lot being asked of this Huskers defense and this defensive line to put together a goal line stand here with a neutral football game on the line.
The Raiders knocking on the door. 11:39 left in the first quarter.
Jake Giakis at center. He'll be the one to snap this ball. Looks like a little over 6 yards to glory, and one of the Huskers leaving the field now.
That is what happens.
Dag Mora not happy, I don't think, with the result of that penalty, and he's being escorted off the field. So you have to think Mora's afternoon here on the field has come to a close, and at the end of it all, the VI Raiders with a golden opportunity to tie up the football game, and all sorts of drama and intrigue in this one. As the officials now jog back onto the field after the escort. Lots of competitive, fiery spirit in Dag Mora, and I think some of the fans appreciated that as he left. They know that he's a warrior and he's out here to help his team win. All kinds of delay here for the Raiders, but nothing to be done but to do it. Jake Giakis into position with his offensive line mates. Ron Lyle in the pocket. Two in motion on the left. Bonsu on the right. There's the flip to Bonsu. He's going to take it out wide. He fought off one, but he's going to have to cut to the inside, and he does it! It's in! Ruben Bonsu with its second TD strike of the game. Raiders 1 point away from tying this one up. They were down 21-7 in the first quarter, and they have turned this into one whale of a football game. I kind of feel sorry for any of the fans that maybe had other obligations today and couldn't make it out. What a season finale with a couple of veterans making a huge mark on the late stage of this game, and we're tied up. Nothing settled yet with 11 and a half to go in the final quarter. Ron Lyle with the little flip pass, and Ruben Bonsu had decisions to make out in the flat, and he made them well as he stopped and cut back in towards the middle. And Ruben Bonsu puts them back on level footing here in this all-important fourth quarter.
The final six will join us tomorrow night at our banquet for the Last Supper. Ain't over yet. 11:25 to go.
Savian Townsend with that huge defensive stop up on the second down for the Huskers, and then the interception on the ensuing play. And he and Paul Romanoff have really changed this script in the second half for the Raiders. And they're all tied up. They're going to send the ball away, but they're all tied up. And deep in the backfield, Colby Johnson collects it, and he had his foot caught on the backside by Parker Moscript. And that's going to bring the fans to their feet once again. And boy, this field has really come alive here today. And some chanting and cheering from the fans like I haven't heard this season. The field is alive. There's the pass from Duval, and it's out near the 40-yard line. Out in front of the Raiders sideline and bench. So the first down picked up on that play.
A couple of things. Unfortunately, the winner of our 50-50 can't buy everybody a beer because we completely sold out.
1st and 10, quick handoff, one bounce off, and only a couple of yards tacked on there for the run.
Thanks for all your support.
This time, Luke Rodriguez unable to find the extra magic there on that first spin-off. He bounced off of one tackle, but he was in tight with all of the coverage up the middle. And again, Tanny Wisdom coming up big, getting in on that tackle as he watches the onset, trying to blitz the quarterback. Duval loading and way downfield, one-on-one, and it's through the arms of Colby Johnson, and that's out of bounds. And that's going to bring about a 3rd down situation for the Huskers. And some good coverage downfield by Felice Toscano.
After the next set of downs. But if you're sporting a 50-50 ticket, get ready. It's our biggest pot of the year. You're taking home $634.50.
Some of the fans cheering too at the announcement of the 50-50. It's their largest ever, and apparently it's over $600. So fans excited about that. They're going to punt this ball away, the Huskers will. Harmon Ahuja on the backside. He's going to head out wide to his right. There's a flag on the field thrown. Cuts to the inside. They try and take the ball from him, and they throw him hard out of bounds.
All over the place. It's like a CSI show.
And one of the Huskers in some discomfort on the field. That's Joshua Tut Escobar. But he's able to get up quickly and get off the field. And flags, as I mentioned, on the field.
Keep it clean, bro!
And Hercules Pretorius in on that tackle as the officials continue to sort things out on that last play. And actually now I'm spotting down on one knee, that's Brandon Halsey, who's being looked at by the training staff.
Looks like we got at least one Husker. Took a bit of a knock.
So maybe the Raiders know something we don't as they back up well away from the play. So maybe expecting this ball to come back a little ways here into their own zone. Hard to say for sure, but they did. They are a good distance away from the Huskers players. And maybe just wanting to not involve themselves any extracurricular here at such an important junction in the game. Just a shade under 10 minutes to go, and we're tied at 35.
Last weekend over the West Shore Rebels.
I'm gonna confess I was coming into this game secretly hoping that we would see a matchup like this, kind of a run and gun. Lots of offense, lots of reason for the home crowd to get excited, and they've been treated to that and much more. As we've got a fourth quarter here for the ages, with some of the veteran players cashing in big plays here late. Paul Romanoff and Savion Townsend giving the VI Raiders a chance to do something pretty incredible here today. I know at the beginning of the season there was some shadows and a little bit of doubt around what kind of club the Raiders were going to be, if they were going to have improved at all. But with 31 new faces in the lineup, they're
30-yard line.
gelling at the right time, and if that 43-11 win over the West Shore Rebels wasn't any indicator, I don't know what is, but here they are, locked horns with the Valley Huskers. All tied up at 35, 2 in motion on the right. Fake handoff to Ron Lyle. There's the swing pass, finds Parker Moscript in the flats. Look at him just charge in and get those extra yards as he steams past the 40-yard line. And he takes a couple of Huskers with him, including Raiden Maston.
We'll see where they mark it. It's a first down for the VI Rays. We're at the 40.
Moscript coming back to meet that ball, and look at him just charge into Raiden Maston and get those couple extra yards. They're fighting for every inch out there, and they've got a fresh set of downs to work with. Handoff from Sadler Smith to Ron Lyle. Got past one, and then he dives forward. I think he got about 4 on the play, but he made more than I thought he was going to.
Good for a few.
As he ducked under
Once
that
again,
first.
Get your 50-50 tickets ready. Right after this set of downs, I'm going to
First oncoming tackle from Tyson Holgan. Holgan, of course, with that huge play in the third quarter. And it looked like the Huskers were going to start to take off after that 35 score, but they've been fighting back here. Blaze McCarty on the near side, and in motion Paul Romanoff, but they're going to give to Ron Lyle, who got pushed back a little bit, and he's not going to get much more than the line of scrimmage as the Huskers coalesce and shove him back. So it should be third down now, and looks like the Raiders will indeed make the safe play and get this ball downfield as far as they can.
All right, here we go. Get your 50-50 tickets out.
So the fans are being urged to pull out their 50-50 tickets, so you should be hearing some noise at some point here as they are looking for the winner now, but all of the important action still to be developed here. Actually, in a flag thrown just now. And I don't know if it's a time count violation against the Raiders, and I think it is. So they're going to take a 5-yarder here and have to snap it from around the 40. So the kick will probably be punted somewhere around the 35 at the end of all things here. Marcus Harvey, most likely candidate for that kick. And the Raiders will turn over the football here with the score tied. 8:20 to go here in the fourth quarter. Oh, that ball was deflected off of the kick, and it bounces out of bounds around the 45-yard line, but I'm pretty sure someone got a touch on that punt. You could see the crazy way it was spinning, and it was kind of relatively low. I would be shocked if one of the Huskers didn't get a piece of that ball. Sean Arabsky signaling from the sidelines there. He's been busy today, and some great play calls helping the Raiders make this a game to remember. The season finale at home. And there'll be lots to talk about after this one. There's the handoff. Oh, all sorts of room. And finally brought down.
1-9-6. 3-9.
But Jawad Harb stretching those chains now with that big run. And he found a little hole there on the right side of the line of scrimmage, and he took it for every inch that he could. from the 44. Quick throw from Duvall out to the flats. And Colby Johnson grabs that one, and it looks like it'll be a pickup of about 5 or so on the play. Immediately met by Felice Toscano, forcing him out of bounds. And the clock stopped with just under 7.5 here remaining. Important times here for both the Huskers and the Raiders. 2 in motion on the right. There's the handoff. Oh, got shoved back big, and now all sorts of problems for the Huskers. Absolutely gargantuan defensive play for the Raiders. Now second and about 12. 3 in motion on the near side. Duvall rolls out to his right. He's probably going to run this one. No, he throws it into the end zone. Incomplete. And I was just searching to see if there were any flags on the field, but none that I can see right now. And Duvall knew he was under pressure there from Tanny Wisdom, so he had to get rid of that football, and he threw it. And a great effort downfield by Stephen Koniak, but he was never going to pull in his 3rd TD of the day. That ball just a little hurried and a little underthrown, and probably fortunate that it wasn't intercepted. Harmon Ahuja, the lone man, back for this return. They're playing it safe, making sure they got coverage of it short. Oh, look at this one, all the way over to the left. Harmon Ahuja, he's going to try and run it out. Well, he's outside of that danger zone, and he gets it through to about the 7 or 8 yard line. But a good job by Harmon Ahuja just to make some real estate as that ball was kicked deep over to the right of the field goal. Nice cut to the inside there, escaping the outstretched arm of Nick Reimer. And a good look at Samir Gurwal there, number 34. And of course, Aiden Harker, as I mentioned, number 31, has a similar tie-up of the jersey at the back there. And Aiden Harker having an incredible afternoon defensively for the Huskers. First down for the Raiders. They're going to run it. There's Ron Lyle, and he found a seam, and now he's brought down by 2-3, but not before the first down. And Ron Lyle having himself a whale of an afternoon, adding to his touchdown status, adding more yards, and he's really been an important figure here as the Raiders have had to do their best to try and answer the great running legs and running game of the Huskers. Jawad Harb, a difficult man to counter and respond to in kind. There's the play action. Bonsu cuts in front. Ron Lyle getting a block up front from Giancola, and he tumbles forward, and there's 2 flags thrown simultaneously by the officials. And we'll see what those are all about. It was shortly after that first point of contact. Giancola running up, spearheading that room there. Oh, I think it was a high tackle. Yes, as his helmet came off in that play. Good thing we had the instant replay for that. So the same penalty that the Raiders got assessed earlier, tackling a player without a helmet, and that now goes against the Huskers. So some extra yardage picked up here by the Raiders on top of that good run by Ron Lyle, brings them right just shy of the center field mark.
And this is for
for Paul Romanoff. Tonka.
Congratulations.
There's the fake handoff. Trying to get out of trouble, and a big hit there from the backside. Flying in was Xander Croswell, and Xander Croswell was a little heat-seeking missile there, and he found the quarterback. So after some big yards there defensively, the Raiders now are going to have to try and find a way to move this football downfield after that loss on the play. So this becomes a very important second down here. 2nd and 13 for the Raiders. They've got to get to the 46. In motion. Now there's the snap as one of the Raiders, I think it was Harmon Ahuja, was blasting down the far side of the field. So I think the Raiders are going to receive a penalty here. So 5 yards gets tacked on to the task here. So it'll be 2nd and 18. So the Raiders needing a big play to keep this drive alive. And time becoming a factor in this one. We're just over 4 minutes remaining in this fourth quarter. 35, 3 in motion on the near side. Looking downfield, has time, lets it go over the middle for Harmon Ahuja. Up it goes, and it was incomplete. It became a jump ball, and Raiden Maston got a piece of it, and so the Raiders, that extra penalty really made it a necessity to make it a bigger play. And they try and send it downfield for Harmon Ahuja, nearly intercepted by Raiden Maston. You could see him grasp his helmet, but he still knew it was a big defensive play, and the Raiders are going to have to turn over the football here. 12 on the time clock for the Raiders to get this play underway. And there's the punt. Caught in good speed by the backfield there of the Huskers. And they get it close to the midfield area there, maybe the 53 or so. So a speedy return there by the Huskers, and they've got pretty decent field position to start this drive here. On the near side, Igahorn lining up against his man. There's the handoff, though. Just a couple of yards on that play as the run makes a couple few yards there. Huskers playing it safe, keeping the ball on the ground for now, and that's what's gotten them to this point in the football game. Second and 8. 2 in motion on the right. That's where Duvall goes. The catch is made and brought down right near the 50, well short of the first down. And another catch chalked up for Stephen Koniak. He'll have impressive numbers at the end of this one, but where they're at right now, it's 3rd and 4. And I think the Huskers are thinking about going for it. It's that time of the game. The fans coming alive with the defense chant as the Huskers are going to go for it here. 3rd and 4. Duvall. They're trying to draw the Raiders into an offside, but it's not working here yet. 10 on the time clock. All sorts of concentration needed now, and there's a signal. And it's a time count violation, I believe, against the Huskers. So they were really trying to draw the Raiders into a penalty there. They were trying to use the clock, but it wound up being to their detriment as they just waited too long to get that play underway. And now that forces a special unit out onto the field. They're going to have to punt this one away. So with just over 2.5 to go in this fourth quarter, it looks like possession is going to change hands once again. The Huskers set to boot it away. But will they? And interestingly, they have Daniel Igahan back there. And he's going to be the one to find this football. Off he goes, runs into one, and he just hangs on to the football just around the 30-yard line. And that's where Sadler, Smith, and co. is going to go to work. Pardon me, that was actually Savian Townsend with the run there. I thought that was Daniel Igahan, but indeed, Savian Townsend, who had that colossal interception in the third quarter, continues to make plays for the VI Raiders.
All right, let's make some noise for these guys. 6 of them, it's their last 2 minutes and change as Vancouver Island Raider players.
PA announcer getting the fans into it. And the Jumbotron says, make some noise. 2 in motion on the left. Savy over the middle, the screen play, caught by Ron Lyle. All sorts of coverage, and he just has to hang on to the football. They were trying to strip it from him. And I don't think they're going to make more than about 3 or 4 on the play, but at least they were able to hang on to the football. That little dump over the screen by Sadler Smith, who sold the downfield look to Harmon Ahuja quite well. So 2nd and about 7. And the Raiders with a big down of their own here. Discussion by the officials there at
lots of discussion on the field.
Well, the 35-yard line. And Jonas Siciliano was front and center for that discussion, just awaiting the results of that chat there by both the officials. 2nd and 7 for Sadler Smith, and
here we go.
He has 2 in motion on the right. That's where he's looking initially. He scrambles out of the pocket. He's going to get tagged, and down he goes. Sadler Smith getting sacked. He was able to move the ball forward a little bit, but after trying to scramble out of the pocket, those immediate downfield options disappeared quickly. Oh, and what a great job by number 95. That's Hulgan once again. Hulgan with a big defensive play, and the Raiders now on 3rd and 7. What are they considering here? Are they going to punt it? They look like they're set up for the punt. And they do punt it away. They make the safe play. Oh, in the backfield, and a big tackle on Rodriguez. Braden Thornbert with a big tackle. And look at them pumped up on the sidelines. Sean Arabsky's got to love that. As Raider Nation hanging around over on the sidelines, excited in this one. Duvall way downfield looking, and it's caught! Big play, and it's all the way down to the 20. Big haul in by Stephen Koniak. And another big play by number 13. Stephen Koniak puts them into the red zone area. And interesting moments now with 1:37 remaining on the clock. A huge hookup downfield. Tyron Duvall Beautifully thrown pass to Stephen Koniak, and it's going to take the crew down on the sidelines a little while to get down there. That was a big air play. Duvall rolling it out to the right, and that one's overthrown and out of bounds. 2nd and 10. Duvall really showing his great arm there on that pass to Stephen Koniak, and Koniak, who's got a couple of TDs today, is giving the Raiders defense all kinds of fits here tonight. Big 2nd down for the Huskers. 2 in motion on both sides. He's going to throw it immediately, and it's overthrown, but what an adjustment in midair by Colby Johnson to try and catch that football. He got a piece of it with his right, and then he tried to haul it in with both hands, and it was just shy of being able to be reeled in by Colby Johnson. What a quick set play. Complete timing play, and he almost made the catch. So now 3rd down and a quick change of personnel, 1 apiece for both teams. And here it comes. Kaipen with the chance for the kick. And it's good for 3. Kaipen makes it a 3-point game, but one of his mates is down on the field, and that little kicking motion doesn't look too promising for the player in question.
Two of them have been here for 5 years. So one more time, let's
put our hands together. That's Ty Folk that's on the field for the Huskers, and again, as I mentioned, I've seen those little kicks of the foot before, and it's usually some pretty intense pain that's happening down there on the field. Katie Bergen and Ava McCrae helping out their fallen player.
This is their last game officially as a Raider player.
Let's go, Harm! Run it in, bud!
We'll send out a big thanks to all the volunteers.
The Huskers have been
that helped make
on the bad end of a couple of injuries here today.
Come and help us here on the field.
One just 3.5 minutes into the football game, and
Donovan, the guy who's the master.
Now one at the very tail end of the game as they grab a 3-point lead with 1:21 to go in this football game. They lead 38-35. But the Raiders will have the all-important football.
Big thanks as well to HD Images.
And basically a drive to thrive.
We always have lots of stock of everything you'd ever want.
No matter what happens at this point of the game, it's been such an entertaining, close football game. But more than that, just tons of heart shown out on the field today. And what a finish for Daniel Openquo, Savian Townsend. It's been a game to remember. Savian Townsend with a huge play. Paul Romanoff, a touchdown as well. That huge interception by Savian Townsend. So lots of great things happening here today. And if you're on Facebook, make sure you go and check out the VI Raiders on Facebook there. A couple of really cool interviews, speaking of Obenquo and company. Some cool parting words and their encapsulation of how the last week and a half and 2 weeks has felt. And so it's a pretty serious here for Folk as they're sending their players off the field to await the outcome of this injury here on the sideline as a team. So some terse or tense moments here, pardon me, for the Huskers as they await the outcome of Folk on the field here. And he really hasn't been moving too much outside of the mentioned little foot taps on the field. And they're going to need a couple of big able bodies to come on and help their mate off the field. William Donahue out there to help out, number 18. And Cade Kelly, number 92 there with the kind of cool looking paint on the underneath the eyes there to help with the sweat and everything that these players undergo and have as something of a constant out on the field. Even in these cooler temperatures, these players are working extremely hard, and there's a lot of energy and exertion happening out on the field. And now the Huskers back onto the field after Folk has helped to his feet, but being extra careful as he gets assistance off of the field. And it's good to see him being able to get off on his own steam relatively. Ty Folk, as the crowd gives him a hand, and he can go off safe in the knowledge that his team bumped up by 3 on that field goal. And again, a shout out to some of the players playing their last game today, Daniel Obenquo and Olamide Adigbite. And as we've mentioned before, Savian Townsend and Paul Romanoff. Players that have really made their mark, not just on the game, but on this organization in general. Strong kick angled out over the sidelines, and there's a flag on the play. That one going out of bounds, and they're motioning now for the chains to be brought downfield here, and that's where the Raiders will take over the football. And it looks like it is a penalty assessed against the Huskers here, I believe. And procedure. So a little bit more favorable field position for the Raiders, and they've got 1:21 on the clock to work with. Oh, so I think they're actually going to make them punt it over with the adjusted penalty yardage. So they'll redo this punt as it got angled out of bounds, but it was just too far out of bounds and unplayable for the Raiders. So they'll line this one up again. Gabriel Yapen, who has the 3 points of separation for his club. He nailed that field goal just moments ago as far as the time clock is concerned. Near the sidelines, picked up and run up to about the 40-yard line, and there's a bit of a scrum happening there on the sidelines as tempers are starting to flare here a little bit in the late goings of this one. But nothing that I can see coming. Actually, yes, there is a flag on the field, so we're going to have to wait and see what the result is here. And they're talking it over right at center field. And a couple of players very interested in the outcome of this decision here, including Andy Ofasahine. And he had a couple of big plays here throughout the game, especially defensively. And so the penalty is going against the Huskers.
Lots of discussion on the center field here.
Ofasahine getting clarification there, and that was Jonah Siciliano also eavesdropping on the conversation. So the 53-yard line, that's where the Raiders will have the football. And the officials have just collected their penalty flag. So this very important set of downs about to get underway. 1:17 on the clock. 3 points separating these two tooth and nail clubs here this afternoon. Two in motion on the right. Plays underway over the screen. Harmon Ahuja running his way to the 40, and he's got the first down. Harmon Ahuja, and he gets out of bounds to stop the clock, and it's a smart play for the Raiders. And all sorts of fingernail biting now on both sides of the football. Harmon Ahuja with some important yardage here late in the fourth quarter. Look at that run. Just getting to the 40 and out of bounds, too, to stop the clock. 1:10 remaining now. Sadler Smith with Giancola beside him to the right. Play is in motion, looking over the middle. Oh, and it's dropped on a late hit, too. Ruben Bonsu, he turned to find the football, and as he did, he took a double whammy there. And a second down attempt now for... 1:06. And I think Sadler Smith is trying to hear the communication here. And now he's going to employ it. There's 12 left on the play clock to get this into motion. And he has Giancola in behind him. Harmon Ahuja in motion on his right. Same with Bonsu. He moved it up towards the line of scrimmage, and there's the throw. Getting it to just about the first down, but I think he might be shy by maybe, this is going to make things really interesting. It could just be inches here on the third down. I think it's going to be very close. Yes, it's down to a yard, maybe a yard and a couple inches. So Sadler Smith and company, a third down with all sorts of implications. There's the dive. It looked like he got over top. I think they've got the first down, and it's officially due. Oh, the Raiders stringing together quite the drive here. And they've had some help with the penalty calls on the field. And the energy is palpable. Owen Giancola in behind Sadler Smith. He's going to fake the handoff. There he goes to the line of scrimmage looking for someone to pass to. He's got no room. He's just going to have to run it out. And he ran out of options, and he didn't want to concede the football. So Sadler Smith hanging on, taking the safe play, the second down. It'll be 2nd and 8 now for the Raiders. Football at the 29-yard line. We're on to the next biggest play for the Raiders. Smith with Giancola in behind him. Malscript over to the left. He's in motion now, so is Bonsu on the other side. Looking downfield over the middle. Oh, one-handed catch not complete. Parker Malscript with a one-handed catch attempt, and he almost reeled it in. The screen pass over the middle, but there was just too many people competing for that football. And the ball falls to the turf. Parker Malscript hoping to play hero there, but now a 3rd down and 8 situation. Sadler Smith into the pocket, looking downfield. He's being caught up to over the middle, and the catch is made. It's a 1st down for the Raiders. Sadler Smith with the hesitation, and then he finds his target after a good little run. Look at him nearly get caught from the back, and 2 hands up in the road, but a big catch by Ruben Bonsu. And Bonsu making this game extremely entertaining here with under 30 seconds remaining on the clock. 3 points is the spread.
Ex-coaching staff, either GM is here, one of the directors, everybody's here.
No matter the result of this football game, it's been one for the ages, and what a closeout on the season for the VI Raiders and the Valley Huskers, saving one of the most exciting games for the end of the season. Hydration break is complete. Ruben Bonsu has the 1st down. And the football now at the 13-yard line. Sadler Smith with one on each side. Parker Malscript moves up. Sadler Smith, one fake, trying to get away from trouble, and he throws it, but it might have been a bad idea, and it's bounced in and out of arms, and fans are jumping up and down, holding their heads on the sidelines. What a finish to this game as Sadler Smith makes maybe his only questionable throw of the game, but he escapes unscathed. They'll get a 2nd crack at this one. They're 13 yards out. You see him get wrapped up, and he sent away that Hail Mary pass. So close.
Let's go, Raiders!
Time, and that's going to cost them 5 yards and a redo here. Sadler Smith was trying the hurry up offense, but the fans and the atmosphere is so loud now in the late stages of this game that it's hard for him to receive the call, the play action call from the sidelines, and he's looking to the side now, looking for some instruction. And he gives it the 2 thumbs up. And I'm sure you can imagine that means he knows exactly what's on the menu here for this big 2nd down. Day turns into night here at NDSS Field, and the lights are bright. And the action even brighter.
Still looking bright enough.
Lorenzo Jensen and the Roll Focus crew ready to usher in your end of game result here. Big play for the Raiders. There's the snap. We're in motion. He's looking to his left, downfield in the end zone. Touchdown! Touchdown Raiders! You can't write it any better than that. Ruben Bonsu hauls in another one deep in the end zone, and they use the same play that the Huskers used at the end of the second quarter. Deep into the side flats. Ruben Bonsu, all sorts of coverage, and he still comes up with the football. He had Sawyer tether all over him in the end zone, but you saw him hold his hand up right away, and there's the extra point. And Raider Nation, with 13 seconds remaining, grabs a 4-point lead on the Valley Huskers. Unbelievable stuff. Well, if this isn't a certification of a change in Raider Nation fortunes, I don't know what is. The last 4 games of the season turning into a coming-of-age revelation for this squad featuring 31 new faces. And the boys holding up their helmets on the sidelines, saluting their fans and saluting this effort today. They were down 21-7 in the first quarter, but they never threw in the towel. They never gave up. And these 5 players finishing their careers with the VI Raiders, looking for every exclamation point in this game that they can.
We're going to add 2 seconds.
So they are adding 2 seconds onto the clock. So there are 15 seconds remaining. Maybe time for a punt return to the sidelines, and maybe one play after that.
The Raiders 42, the Huskers 38.
And there's the low punt in the turf, collected on the backside, trying to run up the left side, finding some room, but he's going to get caught. And down he goes at the 40, and a good run nonetheless. With 8 seconds left on the clock.
Look at the end of the season at 3.
Brandon Halsey with a good run, and he gets tossed out of bounds at the 40-yard line in the final play of the game.
Make some noise now. Let's get these guys.
And Felice Toscano and crew wanting the Raider Nation to come alive, and they sure are. Their team has a 4-point lead with 8 seconds left on the clock. There's the snap. Duvall, quick fire over the middle, and look at that backwards pass, and the ball's down in the turf. All sorts of balls bouncing around, and it gets kicked back towards the end zone. And down goes the football. The Raiders, do they cover it in the end zone? Is it a touchdown? I'm not sure, but the game is over, and the Raiders have clinched it. The VI Raiders with an unlikely run in the last 4 games of the season. And this field at NDSS has come alive. Take note, Vancouver Island, Raider Nation is alive and well. Paul Romanoff, Ola Attic Bite. All sorts of happiness and excitement on the field as the VI Raiders put an exclamation mark on this super entertaining football game. Look at those smiles. Ruben Bonsu all sorts of happy, a big touchdown strike, and you can hardly write the script better than that for the Raiders. With 20 seconds left on the clock, they pull out the play.
And we're going to get to do that all
That quarterback sat.
Holy dude. Somebody run over to the Aquatic Center and get the huge bib over here for Dougie Avondale. We're going to add 5 seconds to the clock. It was an incomplete pass. An incomplete pass. 5 seconds on the clock. Here we go. Once again, somebody please go get the defibrillator from the Aquatic Center for Doug Avenue.
They're going to get 5 seconds, but they've got to make it. And even though we're Ruben Bonsu finding the end zone on that one, and now they've tacked on the final 5 seconds. The Huskers with one last crack at it. And there they go. There's the flip pass at the line of scrimmage. Thrown back. The ball's in the turf, and it's collected by the Raiders, and it's official. It's 42-38, and the Raiders wrap this one up. The Valley Huskers finish 5-5, and the VI Raiders assemble a 4-6 season out of the most unlikeliest pieces of material. And the fans with great excitement here, helping the Raiders celebrate a great end of season run. Andrew Harris's club, all sorts of excitement after that Ruben Bonsu amazing catch, and Felice Toscano. That face says it all, everyone. The VI Raiders with a big win here at NDSS to wrap up this 2023-2024 season. And it's been my pleasure for sure to be here on Telus Optic 1981 to help guide you through. I'm Lorenzo Jensen. They're role focused. They're the best in the business. We're going to be back for more next year. Yarrow gave me the thumbs up. We're back at it. Thanks, Mike Walker. Thanks, crew. We're going to be back next year with a vengeance. Raiders football. We'll have more for the 2024-2025 season. Have a great weekend, everyone.